Welcome to the first of 3 efficiency guides for the weekly challenges in MCC. This video will focus on the Set A challenges. This set will see us play in both campaign and multiplayer in either Halo Combat Evolved or Halo Reach. The way I always remember it is Set A, or Week 1, has us play Halo 1 and Halo Reach. Now, I always like to start with the PvE challenges. I'm a UK player and I often struggle to find multiplayer games unless it's an evening or a weekend, so I'll get these out of the way with first. Here are the PvE challenges for this week. The very first thing you want to do is play your 2 games of Firefight. These have to be done in matchmaking, as custom Firefight games do not count. I know I literally just said I struggled to find match-made games, but Firefight is an exception. You're only looking for 3 other players, and the game doesn't have to take skill into consideration. Notice how I said 3 other players there. There are 2 Firefight options to choose from, 2-player and 4-player. However, the devil is in the detail, and this challenge explicitly states that you need to complete 2 full set games. But what is a set, I don't hear you ask? Well, a set is made up of 3 rounds, and a round is made up of 5 waves, so 15 waves basically. You can track where you're up to on the heads-up display. On ODST, this is located in the top left of the screen, while in Reach, it's located in the bottom right. The dots represent which round you're on, while the segments represent the waves. Usually, once you finish all 3 rounds, you'll then have to fight through a bonus round before the game ends. Don't worry though, this is just a single wave, not a full round, and it ends when either the timer runs out, or if everyone dies. The Iron Skull is active on the bonus round, so no respawning allowed. You basically just need to make sure that you make it to the bonus round. If the timer runs out before you reach it, you won't have completed your 3 rounds, therefore you won't have completed a full set. That means you won't have made any progress towards the challenge, and you'll have to play an additional game of Firefight. This isn't all that common though, and usually only happens if you have like 2 teammates drop out. The reason we have to play 4-player Firefight is because the 2-player games only go up to 1 round, not 1 set. Don't be fooled by the descriptions for the 2-player BLAM fight and Sniper fight game types. They both state they are 1 set, however they are not, they are in fact 1 round. Trust me, I've played these to make sure, and I think this is just a small oversight by 343. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, which game and game type of Firefight should you play? Well, I'd advise that you pick and choose which ones based on what tactical exercises you have. I say this because the tactical exercises are a lot more manageable if you work towards them passively. If you have the Arch Heretic challenge, I'd recommend playing either Arcade Fight, BLAM Fight or Sniper Fight. It doesn't matter too much if it's on Reach or ODST. You'll want to take off Flood Fight and Heroic Firefight here. Obviously in Flood Fight you only fight Flood, plus the occasional wave of Sentinels, so there are no Covenant enemies here. And Heroic Firefight not only ups the difficulty to Heroic when all other game modes are on normal, but it also has limited lives, so you're going to have a much harder time trying to complete full set games. If you have Volunteer Firefighter, I'd recommend the same again, though specifically on Halo Reach this time, as from my experience those games tend to go a bit faster than ODST. And lastly, if you have the Warthog Rustler challenge, I'd advise trying your luck with Flood Fight. Why Flood Fight for Warthog Rustler? That's a bit more complicated to explain, so I'll point you to my tactical exercises guide if you want more detail for that one. But yeah, get your 2 full set Firefight games out the way with first. Alternatively, you could just skip them altogether if you're strapped for time, as 2 games of Firefight can take you anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the maps, modes and teammates you get, and for 1 challenge, that's not that great. That said, you will still earn progress towards the other challenges, which is why we're doing this one first. You'll also get XP from the games themselves, so that's something to consider. Firefight challenges out of the way, the next thing you'll want to do is head on over to Campaign, go into Halo Reach, Missions, and then select Nightfall. The challenge this week for game versions is Combat Evolved and Halo Reach. Out of both of those games, I'd say this level is probably the best in terms of both speed and difficulty. There are a few other missions that can be done within the same time frame, if not slightly quicker than this, but those have skips that require both luck and skill to complete. This one is pretty beginner friendly. That said, there is 1 skip at the end of the mission that we will be attempting, and if you've not done it before, you might want to just spend a little bit of time practicing it. The skip we'll be performing is a Forklift-Door skip. If you'd like to practice this first, select Rally Point Charlie. where you'll load in just before the area that we'll be performing the skip in. Quietly take out all of the enemies on the bridge, then hop into the forklift, drive it up to the door and line it up so that it's both parallel and flush to the door. You want to position it in such a way that when your Spartan gets out of the forklift, they're basically in line with the middle of the doors. You have to be relatively precise with this one. If you find yourself jumping out behind the forklift, you're either getting out in the wrong spot or the forklift isn't close enough to the door. Try inching the forklift back or forwards very slightly, and if you need to, drive it away from the door to reset your position and then try again. One tip for the actual run is that once you're through the door, you need to immediately move away from it. If you hang around the door for even a few seconds, it will then load in all the enemies in the following area, and we do not want that because that will really slow you down. So yeah, try practicing that skip a few times just to get used to it if it's a new one for you. If you already know what you're doing, or you just want to balls it and do it live, we can go ahead and get into the mission. We're also going to be getting the Cooperation Challenge at the same time here, so if you have a friend, now is the time to invite them. If, like me, you don't have any, but you do have a spare controller, go ahead and just sign in a guest. Select Rally Point Alpha. You can put the time HUD on if you really want. The Forza Firefight Challenge requires 2 missions to be done in 20 minutes or less. We'll hopefully be completing this in about 5, so unless you get seriously unlucky with that door skip, you probably won't need it on. Next, put your difficulty on Heroic. We're choosing Heroic here in regards to the Narrative Navigator Challenge. That one requires you to complete campaign missions where you are rewarded more progress the higher the difficulty. We need a total of 8 points for this challenge. A completion for an easy mission is worth 1 point, normal is 2, Heroic is 3, and Legendary is 4. If we play 2 missions of Heroic and 1 playlist mission on normal, that will get us the 8 points we're after. As you're more likely to die in Heroic, having a guest or teammate with you will allow you to respawn without having to revert back to checkpoint if you die, like you would on single player. Unless, of course, they also die. Next, turn on a scoring skull. Any skull from the section on the left. I personally always go for the catch skull as it doesn't seem to impact gameplay all that much. You can also turn on skulls on the right hand side where there's a ×1 scoring multiplier, but if you have any skulls on where there's a 0 times multiplier and a red warning sign, this will prevent you from earning progress towards some of the challenges. You have been warned. So yeah, once you're ready, just go ahead and fire up the mission. Okay, so starting off, we want to turn to the right and we want to make our way through the crack in the cliff face here. When we get to the other side, we want to pause just before the first purple crate so we can let the elite walk past us. If you get a grunt or 2 spawn up here like I did, we need to punch the elite in the back, not assassinate him, otherwise they'll wake up and alert everyone. Once you've killed him, just move up here, and if you turn to the right next to this tree, we've got our first golden mower of the mission. So just give him a bonk and then we can move on. I'm not sure what causes it, but sometimes June will just open fire and alert them. It's not too much of a problem if he does, because we're just going to be running past everyone anyway. Once you get to this area, again, just follow where I'm going, jump over this barrier. There's sometimes an elite here where there's no barrier. You can just back smack him if he doesn't know you're there. If he does know you're there, you can just run past. Once we come into this building, I like to pause just at the bottom of these stairs to get a checkpoint. Yep, there we go. And then as soon as we run to the top, you want to zoom up here onto this side of the tower and take the elite out. Once he's down, again, just follow where I'm going, sprint across here, and then I like to jump down and go into this building. There is a health pack over there if we need it, and I do end up needing it. For some reason the Covenant don't like coming in this building, so you can just hide in the corner. Should get a checkpoint, yep, there we go. So I'm just going to pick up the health pack now. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this building. They don't normally come in. They can sometimes, but usually it's pretty safe. Just come up here, take out the gunner. You might get 1 or 2 silver elites jumping over. If you do, again, just take them out. They don't normally walk through the door. The main part here is you want to have your frag grenades equipped. We're going to come out, we're going to jump down, and we're just going to sprint out of this area. When you get to here, I like to throw a grenade just around the corner to try and at least take out the jackal, if not the grunt as well. When we get to this area, I like to jump up on the rocks to the left because we're going to be skirting around the left hand side of it. It's looking pretty safe, so I'm going to jump down now. And then I'm just going to pause the video here for a second. Now, there's a natural line in the cliff face that I normally go off. I'm just going to highlight it here. What we want to do is we want to sprint forwards up the cliff, and as soon as we hit that line, we want to jump and let our momentum carry us up to the ledge above. Okay, so here we go. Cool, made it. Right, now at this point, I'm going to take these two guys out. You might not need to do this. I'm just going to show you where the next mower location is. I don't want them to hassle me while I'm doing it. Just a stick each normally does the trick. Yeah. Cool, so you want to advance to this sort of doorway which leads you to the next area. But before we go through, if you look to the right, we've got an antenna. To the right of that, we've got a tree. And if you zoom into the bush, there is your second of 4 mowers. Well, you only need 3, but there are 4 spawns on this map. If you are playing co-op, each person will get progress every time a mower is destroyed, so don't worry, you don't have to fight over them. It's probably also worth mentioning that you do have to get 3 unique mowers. For example, you can't just get the first one at the start of the mission and then restart and kill it again. You do have to get 3 separate ones. But yeah, once we get through to this area, you've guessed it, we're just going to run past everyone. You don't need to engage here. We will probably get shot at by that phantom in a second, but it shouldn't be anything to worry about. And again, you probably don't need to waste your time missing your shots like I am here. You want to follow this road, and then we're just going to stop and turn to the right. The third mower spawn is on that buoy over there, out in the distance. I think it's that one. It could be the one on the left, but it's definitely one of the 2 furthest ones away. It's not spawned for me, so it looks like I'm going to have to go and check out the 4th and final spawn point. Now, I don't know exactly how it works, if it's random or if they're on a certain rotation, but I'm pretty sure I've always gotten 3 mowers in one run. If for whatever reason you only end up getting 2, I'd highly recommend checking out General Kid / General Heed's channel. He has videos showing all of the mower locations, so I'd suggest checking those out if you're still in need of any by the end of this run. Okay, so we're in the final area now. Hopefully by now you know the drill. We'll start by taking out the elite first. Now, where he's currently stood at the minute is the one spot where he'll see you coming. So I'm just going to wait here and wait for him to move. There we go. Normally takes about 10 seconds or so. But once I've taken him out, I like to take out the grunts as well. There should be 4 grunts across 6 different possible spawn points, 3 around each of the crates there. Take those guys out, and that will hopefully give us a checkpoint. If, like me, you still need the last mower, you want to start punching the air and then just follow the path that I take. The reason we're punching is because we're trying to delay a checkpoint. Normally we get a checkpoint where the 4th mower is, and I don't want that checkpoint basically, so if we just keep punching, we won't get that checkpoint. So here's the mower, keep punching, punch the mower, and then as soon as you've done that, press start, revert back to our last checkpoint, and now we're back by the forklift, so now we can continue. So yeah, as we saw earlier, we just want to drive the forklift up to the middle of the door, slap it side on, bail out, and then hopefully that's it. Now I can just sprint to the end of the mission. I'm just going to speed this last bit up because there's literally nothing to see here. There's no enemies, there's no nothing. It's purely just running to the end of the mission and triggering the cutscene. So there you go. Mission complete. Completing the first run of Heroic Nightfall will grant you the Skullduggery Challenge. Once we're back at the main menu, you want to load up that mission again, exactly as you did before. You could take the catch skull off for the second run, but I always just leave it on. Now, play through that mission again. Yes, this is going to get repetitive, but this is a guide for efficiency, not for fun. Completing the second run of Heroic Nightfall will hopefully grant you the Forza Firefight challenge, assuming you did them both quick enough. And, assuming you also had a guest or friend for both of the missions, you'll also complete the Cooperation challenge. We're going to play this mission one more time, but on normal. At this point, if you want, you can sign your guest out or tell your friend to get lost. Go into Campaigns, Halo Reach, Playlists, Noble Team Doubles, and then start from the beginning of the playlist, the Nightfall mission. Okay, we get it. Completing this third and final run of Nightfall should then award you the Narrative Navigator, From the Beginning, and Playlist Progression challenges, so a good chunk of the PvE ones. Now we can move on to the infamous Challenge Checkpoint. If you've not set up my Challenge Checkpoint, why the hell not? I mean, if you don't know what I'm on about, you might want to check out my Challenges intro video, where I'll show you why it's so good and how to set it up. For those of you who know what it is and haven't set it up yet, well, you're just going to have to wait. So, if you've got it, go ahead and load up the checkpoint. If you're still yet to complete the Eagle Eye Challenge, get this one out of the way with first, because it's the longest one to do. And thanks to this checkpoint, it doesn't even take that long now. Just keep jumping out of the ghost, headshotting all of the grunts, quickly reloading, and then getting back into the ghost to cancel the death timer. Then, jump out and kill some more. Rinse and repeat. Keep reverting back to checkpoint once you've taken out the majority of the grunts. Just be careful you don't click restart mission instead. Believe me, that's annoying. Also, if you do get killed by the death timer, it's still quicker to just press restart and then revert back to checkpoint. Otherwise you waste like 5 seconds just in a black screen, and we ain't got time for that. If you haven't completed the pinpoint challenge yet, depending on how much eagle-eyed progress you had to start with, chances are you'll probably finish this one, and you'll probably finish it first. The same goes to the cannon fodder challenge. If you haven't completed this one yet, you'll absolutely complete it now, without even needing to focus on it. Once you've completed your eagle-eyed challenge, revert back to checkpoint, but then stay in the ghost, and then splatter all of the grunts instead. This one is way more satisfying, and you can churn through them a lot quicker. After just a few minutes of splattering, you should complete the car alarm challenge, and that should be it. You've completed all the weekly PvE challenges. Oh wait, what about those guys who refuse to set up the challenge checkpoint? They won't be done yet. Suppose we'd better offer some alternatives. So, back to pinpoint. If you still need to progress this one, a good mission for this is Tayari Plaza on ODST. Right at the start of the mission, you're met with about 10 grunts, and as you start with a pistol, you can get 10 easy headshots. Just keep reverting back to checkpoint once you've killed them all. If 10 panicking grunts are a bit hard to headshot for you, the first encounter on Combat Evolved's third mission, Truth and Reconciliation, might be a bit easier. If you remain undetected, you can clear out the entire first area, nice and slowly, just picking the enemies off one at a time. Just make sure you're killing them by headshots. If you still need progress for either the Eagle-Eyed or Cannon Fodder challenges, one good checkpoint for both can be found on Halo 3's The Storm. After destroying 2 Wraith in the first open area, clear out all of the enemies inside the next room. You must clear out the whole area, otherwise you won't get a checkpoint. Go through this doorway and then turn to the right. You'll want to get the Marine off the gun turret so you can get onto it and tear it off the stand. You should get a checkpoint around here somewhere. Jump down and then aim up. Drones will start pouring in from above. Unleash your turret onto them for some easy kills, though take care as they can still fire back. After some fighting, the drones will retreat and fly off. At this point, just revert to checkpoint and rinse and repeat for as long as necessary. If you still need to get kills with vehicles, let's be honest, you're thinking of where you can get a tank. There are a few good locations on where you can get one. On ODST, there are 2 at the start of Kizingo Boulevard, and 1 at Rally Point Foxtrot on Coastal Highway. On Halo 3, there are 3 tanks to choose from at Rally Point Bravo on the Ark, or 1 at Rally Point Charlie on the Covenant, and on Halo 4, you can grab one at Rally Point Charlie on Infinity. If I had to choose, I'd opt for the one at Rally Point Foxtrot on ODST's Coastal Highway. If you clear out the first 2 sections of ghosts and shade turrets, you'll get a checkpoint before you move into the third area, which contains plenty of infantry. You can kill all these guys and then just revert back to the checkpoint and do it all again. If you're not keen on mindlessly repeating the same encounter, Rally Point Charlie on Halo 4's Infinity has quite a long vehicle sequence. The first half has you in a tank, and then you switch over to the Mantis halfway through. Assuming you're doing this on your own and not having to share the kills with anyone else, you can complete this challenge before the end of the mission, usually in about 10 minutes if you don't stop. Hopefully, that should be everything you need to know to complete all of the PvE challenges this week. Even if you don't manage to get all of them, I would strongly advise making sure you complete enough to complete the Versus CPU challenge. That one rewards 500,000 XP, which is absolutely massive. Make sure you do that one. By now though, hopefully you should be ready to move on to the PvP challenges. Here's what PvP challenges we have this week. I'm going to be honest with you, there are 2 PvP challenges I don't try to complete this week. BLAM, because that one's just a bit awkward, though don't worry, I'll still walk you through how to do it. And Sweat Equity. Sweat Equity is one of those challenges that you get every week. I don't ever complete it because ranked on MCC is pretty dead. The only ranked playlist I think I've played in recent years is the Halo 3 Team Slayer playlist, and even then it takes me a while to find a game. I've heard some people can find games in the 2 doubles playlists, so you could try out those. However, it's likely you're going to get matched against 2 decent players that are communicating, so unless you're good at the game and playing with a friend that's also good, it's going to be pretty hard to get your wins. As they say though, if you throw enough shit, some of it will stick, so if you do want to go for this one, just keep churning out some games of Halo 3 Team Slayer and you'll win too, eventually. The only other advice I can give is to remember that they're team games and that you're going for the win. So don't get greedy and keep all of the power weapons for yourself, and don't go off and do your own thing. Work with your team. Stand together, or die alone. But for the sake of efficiency, I give this one a pass. Moving on to the rest of them, at this point I like to combine the Bookends and Flag Grabs and Ball Blasts challenges by playing 5 games of 4v4 on Halo Reach and Combat Evolved with the Flag and Bomb type game mode. If you prefer one of those games over the other, feel free to just search for either of them individually. I personally only search for Combat Evolved games here. It's to do with how the objective medals work, but I'll explain that in a minute. If you're brand new to Halo, I'd also suggest just searching for Combat Evolved games to start with, as there are only 5 maps in matchmaking that are compatible with the Flag and Bomb game type. The benefit of this is that you'll be playing on the same maps more often, so you can familiarise yourself with the layouts fairly quickly. Halo Reach, on the other hand, has 9 maps to choose from, so it might be worth playing Combat Evolved for your first few weeks of Set A, then incorporate Reach into the mix once you're comfortable. Now, while you're playing these 5 games, try to get your hands on a sniper rifle, so you can progress your Sniperlethal challenge. Unfortunately, only 2 of the 5 Combat Evolved maps feature sniper rifles, those maps being Battle Creek, where you can find them up the ladders to the left of your base, or Hang 'em High, where you can find them either in each of the team's bunkers or on top of the central platform. 6 of the 9 Halo Reach maps, however, feature sniper rifles. On Boardwalk, 1 sniper can be found in the Overlook, upstairs in the central building, whilst the other can be found in the lower courtyard area. Powerhouse only features 1 sniper, the Focus Rifle. This one spawns over in the yard area, next to these... Sword Base, another map with a singular sniper rifle. This one can be found at the end of the main room. Condemned has sniper rifle spawns in each of the bases. Both snipers could be found resting against the large monitors. Battle Canyon. Despite being the remake of Combat Evolved's Battle Creek, there's only 1 sniper rifle located on this map. This one can be found up in the south perch, on the opposite side to the rocket launcher. And finally, Asylum, the Forge World remake of the Halo 2 map Sanctuary. This map contains 2 snipers, 1 in each of the buildings to the left side of the bases. So, you're playing Flag and Bomb on Combat Evolved or Reach, whilst trying to get kills with the sniper. Anything else? Well, yeah. It would also be a good time to work towards your Objective Results challenge. Unfortunately for those of you playing Halo Reach, you might have a harder time with this one. Out of the 7 different assault medals that count towards this challenge, only 2 of them can be earned in Halo Reach. You'll only earn progress towards this if you kill opposing bomb carriers or plant the bomb in the enemy base. For those of you playing Combat Evolved, there is no assault game type, so you'll only be playing games of Capture the Flag. There are 6 Capture the Flag medals that count towards this challenge. Again, unfortunately for you Reach players, only 3 of them are available. You guys can progress this challenge by getting a kill while holding the flag, killing enemy flag carriers, or capturing enemy flags. Combat Evolved players, on the other hand, can earn all 6, the other 3 medals being awarded for returning your own flag and capturing 2 or 3 flags in one game. The added beauty of being able to earn medals for returning your flag in Combat Evolved is that they reset the second you touch it, In all other games it takes about 15 seconds. Admittedly, this is a bit of a cheat tactic, but if you camp your own flag, you can kill the enemy as soon as they pick it up, and then reset it straight away, earning medals for both killing the carrier and returning the flag. There are even more challenges you can progress during these initial 5 games, but you don't need to focus on these as you'll likely just earn progress towards them without even thinking about them. Those challenges being Friendly Fire, Podium Finish, and Multi-Thrill. Once you've played 5 games of 4v4 Flag and Bomb, you'll still need at least 2 more matches of Combat Evolved and Reach. At this point, I like to switch over to 8 vs 8 Big Team Battle games of Halo Reach, and this is where I'll stay for the remainder of the challenges. Feel free to also play 8v8 games of Combat Evolved if you want, though from experience, Combat Evolved is a lot harder to find a big team game for, and if you've also got Reach enabled, most of your games, if not all of them, will be Reach, as that game seems to be more popular for BTB. The reason for Big Team Battle is for the Vehiculethal challenge. We need to get 15 kills with vehicles, and they are way more abundant in big team games. I enable all of the game modes for this, with the exception of 2 of them. I take off Action Sack. I'll be honest, it's been so long since I've played that playlist that I've actually forgotten what was in there. I must have turned it off for a reason though. And then I take off Snipers. The Snipers game mode forces all of the vehicle spawns on the map to mongooses, so unless you go in for 15 difficult splatters, which, let's be honest, you aren't, you too might want to pass on this one. Don't worry though, every single Big Team Battle map for Halo Reach contains sniper rifles should you still need to earn progress towards Sniperlethal Vector. One game mode I would definitely advise keeping on is the Heavies option. Not only does this add more vehicle spawns, but it also adds better vehicles. Scorpions, Wraiths, Banshees and Gauss Hogs are all very good choices to help you earn those 15 vehicle kills. My personal go-to vehicle for this is the Gauss Hog. It's particularly effective at killing, well, everything. Usually the only thing you get let down by is your driver, probably just jealous of the fact that you got into the turret first. Keep playing games of Big Team Battle, ideally until you've completed the Vehiculethal and Sniperlethal challenges. If you still need to complete Friendly Fire, Podium Finish and Multi-Thrill, feel free to play any matchmaking game you fancy. There's not too much advice I can give for these challenges, as these are more passive challenges that you slowly progress over time without thinking about. If you are struggling to complete Podium Finish though, you can try playing games of 2v2. The description for the challenge is to finish as one of the top 3 players. If there are only 4 players in the game, all you need to do is not come last. You'll then want to try knocking out the 2 custom games browser challenges, Dead Eye Dealing and Drop In Help Out. If you're unfamiliar with what the custom games browser is, it's kind of like a matchmaking system for custom games, unofficial maps and game modes created by the community. You can either jump straight into a random custom game through the quick match option, browse through a list of all available matches to pick one that suits you, or just create your own. The Dead Eye Dealing challenge is pretty straightforward. Get 25 kills with precision weapons. A precision weapon is basically any weapon that is capable of earning you the headshot medal. Most pistols, rifles and snipers fit in this category. One way to tell if your weapon is capable of a headshot is that when you aim your weapon at the head of an enemy, a dot will appear in the centre of the crosshair. The only game this doesn't apply to, I think, is Combat Evolved, as it was a later edition. Just to confirm, the kills don't need to be headshot kills, they just have to be by a weapon that can headshot. Drop In Help Out requires 25 assists. This challenge gets a bit more technical due to the fact that assists don't work the same way across all of the games. In every single game, you can earn assists either by being the driver of a vehicle when a passenger gets a kill, or taking out an enemy's shields and then having another player finish the kill. You only have until the shields finish recharging in order to get an assist. If the enemy's shields recharge back to full, you've missed your opportunity. Halo 3 on the other hand works slightly differently, and it works in our favour. As long as you take out an enemy's shields at least once, it doesn't matter when or how they die, you will earn an assist. If you take out someone's shields, let them recharge back to full, and then someone kills them an hour later, you will still get an assist for that. Also, if you take out someone's shields, let them recharge, and then someone else takes out the same person's shields, lets them recharge, and then a third person comes along and kills them, the second person doesn't override you in terms of getting the assist, you'll both get one. The final advantage to playing Halo 3 is that you can actually earn assist medals in a 2-player game. If you have one player take out the other player's shields and then wait for them to recharge back to full, if the second player then blows themselves up with a rocket launcher, for example, you won't get an assist medal, but the game does still treat it as an assist. If they blow themselves up before their shields finish recharging, they'll still die, but the game will treat it as you killing them, not someone else, so you won't get an assist for that. So, now that we know Halo 3 is the best choice for these challenges, we can go ahead and jump into the custom games browser. Or do we even need to? The descriptions for these challenges state they must be done in custom game browser games, but they don't have to be. They can just be completed in a regular custom game. Well, assuming you have at least one spare controller or a friend to help out. The method I'm about to show you is the most efficient when you have at least 3 players, although it can still be done with 2. If you're on your own, don't worry, I'll come back to that in a bit. For now though, you'll need to download a map and game type from my file share, and don't worry, you'll only ever need to do this once. From any of the main menus, open the roster, which on Xbox at least is done by pressing X. Select your gamertag to open another submenu and then scroll down to the Find Player option. Enter my gamertag, Zappy180. Now, don't judge me, I came up with this username when I was like 11 playing RuneScape 2, which at this point was nearly 20 years ago. God, I feel old. Anyway, it will then bring you to my player details page. Scroll down to the file share, and then we'll have 3 options to choose from: game types, map variants, and films. Go into game types and then search for the Halo 3 Slayer variant named Challenges game, and then download this file. Once that's downloaded, back up to the 3 options and this time select map variants. Search for the Halo 3 Foundry variant, Challenges map, and download that one too. Once you've got both of these files, head into multiplayer, go into custom multiplayer, and then Halo 3. For the map, we want to choose the one we've just downloaded, so head on over to Foundry and then scroll across until you see the Challenges map. Then, for the game type, select Slayer, and then again scroll across until you see the Challenges game, and then select that one. Accept the options, sign in your guests or invite your friends, and then start the game. The arena itself isn't very big, but that's because it doesn't need to be. There are a number of respawn points facing the back wall, which will make more sense when I go through the 2-player method. For now though, we're going to start with the 3-player method. Have one player stand at one end of the respawn line, and then have them repeatedly snipe the other 2 players for their 25 precision weapon kills. Instant respawn and bottomless clip are turned on, so this should go pretty quickly. Once they've got their 25 kills, they then need to go ahead and get into the driver's seat of the Gauss Hog. Then, have one of the other 2 players jump into the turret, and then repeatedly kill the remaining player. Because 2 of the players are in one corner, the game will try to spawn the 3rd player as far away from them as possible, so they should just keep respawning in the far corner. The driver is going to earn Wheelman medals, aka assists, for each kill the gunner gets, so after 25 Gauss Hog turret kills, the driver will be done. Simply rinse and repeat this for all the players that need these challenges. This is by far the quickest and easiest way to do it. Now I'll go through the 2-player method. The first part for getting 25 precision weapon kills remains the same. Have one player stand at one end and repeatedly snipe the other player. In terms of assists though, this is where it's going to take a little bit longer. The player going for the assists needs to take out the shields of the other player. Once the other player's shields have recharged to at least half, they need to blow themselves up. If they do it too soon, it will count as the first player's kill, not assist. To be on the safe side, wait until the shields are fully recharged, then they can blow themselves up. Now, the game won't award you with assist medals here, so it's not entirely obvious you'll be earning assists. However, your drop-in help out progress will increase with each assisted kill, and additionally the in-game scoreboard is based on assists. Each assist earns you 1 point, so keep an eye on your score to easily keep track with how many assists you're on. And this is why it takes time. You just need to sit there for 25 kills, taking your opponent's shields down and then waiting for them to blow themselves up. Whilst this is slower than the 3-man method, this is still much quicker than playing a regular custom games browser game. Which now brings us on to the 1-player method. Unfortunately, you can't get kills or assists when you're alone in a game, obviously, so you will need to end up playing a custom game browser game for that. You have two options here. Either scroll down the list and look for a Halo 3 custom game that sounds like it will feature precision weapons. Game modes with snipes and BRs in the name are usually quite promising, and you can always try your luck in Fiesta games. The other option is to host a custom game, and you can use a couple more files from my file share for this. If you load up my file share, download the Octagon map and Octagon Snipes game mode. As the name suggests, Octagon is a small octagonal shaped arena, and the Snipes game mode forces all players to start with sniper rifles, as well as enabling bottomless clips and instant respawning. In the custom games browser menu, select Create, then Halo 3, and then give it a session name and description. Make sure to mention that it's Octagon Snipers to let other players know what will be going on. Set the minimum player count to 2, the maximum to 16, and then add that map and game mode that you've just downloaded as a variant at the bottom. Once you've filled out the rest of the details, go ahead and hit Create Match. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to put you in what's called a pre-game lobby. Because the minimum player count is set to 2, you need at least one other player to start the game properly. In an attempt to save you from a bit of boredom caused by sitting in a menu screen until someone else joins, the game lets you mess around on the map for a bit. Unfortunately, because Octagon is nothing but an octagon, there isn't all that much to do apart from wait. If you wait long enough, someone will join eventually. You won't be able to earn any assists until a third player joins, but you can start working on your Dead Eye Dealing challenge in the meantime. It might take a while to get the first few initial players, but it's a bit of a snowball effect here. The more players you have in your game, the more players will want to join it. Even if you can only attract 2 players, that's enough to complete both challenges. If you're struggling to find players, try setting your game up at a time when more people are online. Evenings are good, weekends are better, and weekend evenings are the best. At this point, with the exception of BLAM and Sweat Equity, you should hopefully have completed 10 PvP challenges, which will then award you the Peoples vs Peoples challenge. You definitely want to make sure you earn this challenge, as this one also rewards 500,000 XP, which again is massive. Before we wrap up though, I suppose I did promise you I'd tell you how to go for the BLAM challenge. Here we go, boys. So, BLAM. Why do I hate it so much? Well, it's basically the only challenge, aside from Sweat Equity of course, that you have to go really out of your way to do. You need to get 3 enemy kills by environmental explosions. An environmental explosion is essentially just an explosion that was indirectly caused by you. The most obvious examples for this are fusion coils, those glowing crates found on different maps that explode when you shoot them. Exploding one of them alone might not grant you the kill, so you might need to set off multiple coils at the same time in order to kill someone. There are a few locations on certain maps where this is possible. For example, Construct on Halo 3 has a few areas with multiple coils stacked together. Guardian also has a few spots. My go-to for this challenge, when I do bother doing it, is the Halo 2 Anniversary map, Lockdown. This map is littered in fusion coils. The sniper spawns right next to 3 of them, which is great because it almost acts as bait. The number of fusion coils and where they're placed isn't the only thing I like about this map. Oh no. There are 3 stalactites that hang down from the ice shelf above, which, when shot at enough, will break off and fall, crushing anything beneath them. The reason I mention this is that if you can kill an enemy by a falling stalactite, it will also count as an environmental kill. So if you do want to attempt this one, definitely try to play a few games on Lockdown. You can also get environmental kills by destroying vehicles and having their explosions kill nearby players. If a player is inside the vehicle that you destroy, that won't count. You need to make sure it's the explosion of the vehicle that is killing them, not your Spartan laser, for example. The third and final method I know of for getting progress towards this challenge is to take out an enemy shields and then somehow have them blow themselves up. Obviously this is purely down to luck and nothing else, so don't count on getting any kills this way. Good luck if you're trying for that one. I think that about wraps it up for week A. Just to recap, the games you'll need to play for maximum efficiency for PvE. You'll want to play 2 games of Firefight, followed by 2 heroic missions of Nightfall, and then a normal playlist mission of Nightfall, then bust out the challenge checkpoint for the final 4 challenges. For PvP, start with 5 games of 4v4 Combat Evolved Flag and Bomb, followed by 2 games of Halo Reach Big Team Battle. Next, play your custom game, and then play any match-made games you like after this to mop up the remaining challenges. Maybe some 4v4 Halo 2 if you're crazy enough to go after the BLAM challenge. So yeah, good luck. If there are any strats you guys have for this week's challenges that you think are worth a mention, please drop them in the comments below. But yeah, I think that's all from me. I guess I'll see you next week for the Set B efficiency guide, so yeah, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.